Well, hello everyone. This is Christy Johnson again with End Times in America. I have made a commitment that I just have to speak out on these issues. But I want to start by realizing that everything that is going on now is actually revealed to us in the Bible itself. Now, when I talk about end times in America, many people get concerned. They go, well, America's not in the Bible, oh, blah, blah, blah. My answer to this is very simple. Did God know there was going to be a United States of America? And my answer is yes, of course. He knew that. He knows that. And he also understands the total reason for our existence and the total reason that we may fall. My take on this is, are we in the end times? And I have to say, of course we are, because Israel has been restored back into their land. This was a prophecy that a nation would be born in one day. And this was a sign, very important sign, that told us the generation that saw the beginning of this wouldn't pass until all would be fulfilled. Check me out on these scriptures. If you have an issue or a question about it, I'd be happy to interact with you at some point where I can answer questions. Right now, I'm just making the videos. I want to get people engaged in realizing why Bible prophecy concerning the end times is important for every Christian. And people go, well, yeah, but I don't think we're in the end times. I go, you know what? I'm in my end times. You are in your end times. And how do I know that? Because none of us are going to live past a certain point. We are all living in our end times. So, what we need to know and understand about the Word of God is from the beginning in Genesis all the way to the end in Revelation. And when we try to say, oh, I don't need to know about Revelation, I just can't accept that that's a logical thing for a Christian to say, because Revelation actually is only detailing what prophets in the Old Testament, nearly all of them spoke about. Some of them called it the last days, like we read in Daniel. Also, we read that this is the day of the Lord. There is prophecy about the end times throughout the Bible, and we don't have to go, wow, I can't understand anything about the end times because I can't read Revelation. You don't need to do that. But I did, and I also related the things in Revelation back to the prophets in the Old Testament and much of what Jesus had to say about the end times himself. Read what Jesus had to say in Matthew 24 and understand that this was something that his followers wanted to know about, particularly those who were closest to him wanted to know what will be the sign of the end times. And the first thing that he said is, take heed, no man deceive you. The first thing about the end times is that it's a time of deception, it's a time of confusion. And I want you to know that I believe, and it was not easy for me to come to that conclusion. I don't expect everybody to do that, but I believe that the rise of Islam, it's taking of so much of the world by force, which did not just start in the last few years. America has just become aware of it because of the invasion of Islam into America. But Islam has been taking over the world for generations, 100, let's see, I think 1400 years would be the closest estimate, because this is when Muhammad began to go about conquering other people and forcing them to accept him as a prophet and forcing people to submit to Islam, which, hello, that's what the word means. It means submit or surrender. It does not mean peace. Islam means submit or surrender. And I hate to tell you, but we now in the United States of America are just seeing how this invasion of Islam into America, that that's really what it's all about. So I'm hoping I can share some clips with you that will show you things that are going on in 2025, 2026. But first, I want to share with you an eye-opening video. This is something, if any of you are old enough to recall or faithful enough to the news media to know what C-SPAN is or was. C-SPAN was monitoring meetings going on in our government. And this came out, CNN actually around the same time. So we're talking about a clip I'm going to share with you from 1989. You'll see the date stamp on the clip, but it is really important because it is one of the first things that should have, but didn't, should have indicated to America that we were in trouble because of Islam in America and what its plans and intentions were. So I'm going to share the clip. It probably will have to be in a couple of segments here, but I really want you to see this. This is someone speaking about Islam very openly, and notice that she says the goal is to make America a Muslim country. She repeats this several times in her 20-minute talk. I'm only going to show a few minutes and then I may comment on that, but I want you to pay attention to her words. This woman is now passed away, but this meeting that was held with Muslims and was covered by C-SPAN was showing in their words and their agenda what they wanted to do as Muslims in America. I think you'll be shocked, but remember that this was 30 some years ago and nobody paid any attention.
Our next speaker is Sister Sharifa Al-Khatib. Sister Sharifa has been an activist for 25 years in many fields and areas. She has worked as a teacher here in this country and overseas, both in elementary school and later teaching in college. She has a master's in comparative religion, and she presently works as the managing editor for the American Journal of Islamic Social Scientists. And as a footnote, she ran recently for the Board of Education in the Fairfax County here in the D.C. area. And her topic will be education.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى أهله وصحبه أجمعين. I need to talk louder? Okay. I'm a bit short. I'm very happy that I was asked to speak today about education because I believe that education is one of the most important areas that Muslims have to address. And while our objective, our final objective, is not just to become part of the system that we experience now and that we see, our objective, our final objective, is to create our own Islamic systems, and not only create Islamic systems for Muslims, but to look at all the other people who are sharing this country with us as potential Muslims. And if we look at them as potential Muslims and feel that we have the obligation, which Allah has told us, to try to bring them into the same style of thinking, into the same way of behaving, into the same objectives that we have, then we have to have some way that we can communicate with them and some way we can work with them. And in that long-range process of making America Muslim, all of America Muslim, then we have to have some actual short-range goals. We have to have some way of dealing with them and know how we're going to deal with them and in which ways, and be very calculated about it, or else we will not accomplish our goals.
Did you hear what she said? Their ultimate goal is to make all America Muslim? I bet y'all didn't hear that. I bet nobody covered that. I bet nobody talked about it. And I'll be honest, I didn't talk about it and I didn't know it either. But the fact is, that was taking place in 1989, their plan and this meeting, she says, to make all America Muslim. And I'm not taking her out of context because I'm going to let you see the rest of the video, but I just want you to pay attention because we didn't see this when it was going on. I didn't see it when it was going on. And it wasn't until later, after I met Usama Dakdok, that I discovered this video online. And I said, oh my gosh, we should have known long ago. They were clearly telling us what their plans were. Friends, I want you to know that understanding Islam is a complicated thing. Maybe even if you saw it, you would have went, oh man, that's okay. All America will never become Muslim. That's crazy. Have you been paying attention, though, to what's going on in Texas? Because that's where the story is starting to come out. That is where we are hearing the news about creating Sharia compliant communities. Used to be called Epic City. This was in Plano, Texas, where we were hearing about the East Plano Islamic Center. That's where Epic came from. And they were going to build a community called Epic 2. They already had Epic 1, which was a neighborhood of Muslims who were living within a certain community in houses all close together in the neighborhood. But now they were going to build a whole community, and people got wise when they heard the comments about Sharia. They all went crazy when they heard about Sharia. But I have to tell you, the problem is why we won't get Sharia stopped is because most Americans have no clue what Sharia is. The word Sharia means law, and it is Islamic law. But whenever Muslims hear people talk and say Sharia law, they know immediately, oh, this person does not speak Arabic. Therefore, they really don't know what they're talking about. Because if you don't know what the Quran teaches and you don't understand that Sharia is law, it is Islamic law. If you don't know that, then you're saying Sharia law means la la. And as my friend Usama likes to say, that means you're in la la land. You don't know what you're talking about. So it is a big problem because even if people are hearing people talk about Sharia, they go, oh, there'll never be Sharia in America. Oh, Muslims are just nice people. They don't want to make America a Muslim country. That's impossible. No, it's not impossible. And it is happening now. In New York City, we have a mayor who is a Muslim and who ran as a socialist in the Democratic ticket. Well, guess what? Many socialists just love this idea. What they don't understand is Muslims have always been able to connect to socialists. They always have. In fact, that's why they supported Hitler, and many of them joined the SS under Hitler because Islam has no problem with socialism. So you please be wise, fellow Americans, please be wise. As I said, had you even heard this or known about it before, you might have just blinked your eyes and said, oh, that's okay. We're a country where everyone can practice their own religion. But what if your religion teaches you that everybody who is not in your religion has to be killed? Do you know of any Christian denomination that says, oh, if these people don't become Catholic, we're going to slaughter them? Oh, if these people don't become Baptists, we're going to go and kill them all. If these people don't become United Methodists or Methodists, we're going to go kill everybody else. No, this is what we think of religion. But in Islam, it's totally different animal. If you do not submit, if you do not surrender, remember that's what Islam means, surrender or submit. If you don't submit, you don't convert, you don't accept Islam, ultimately they have to kill you. This is where we read of beheading in the book of Revelation. And when I learned and understood that beheading is the way that Muslims execute infidels, of which Christians and Jews are infidels, and others who don't believe in Islam, they behead people who will not agree to become Muslim. Man, this really kind of got my attention, because this came directly from the book of Revelation. And as I had been studying it, I did not know that this is what Muslims do. This is what Islam teaches, and that this has been going on for 1400 years. I learned this from Usama Dakdak, the Straight Way of Grace Ministry. I work with him and I support him. But as you are hearing this video and understanding what's going on, I want you to know my goal and my reason for supporting his ministry is to wake up Americans to what is really happening. And it didn't just start in Texas. It didn't start in New York City. It didn't start in any of these other places like Detroit, Michigan, Des Moines, Iowa, where we see a rise of Muslim communities demanding their rights. That the riots taking place because Palestinians were being abused by Israel, that's one of the hugest lies that ever happened. So I will be commenting more. God bless you. I hope that you will start following these programs, and you can send comments to End Times in America. I have to tell you, endtimesinamerica.com, I think it's .com, no, End Times in America is my email address, and it is at gmail.com. Yeah, my website, End Times in America. Oh, yeah, it got taken down, over 10 years ago. People didn't like what I was seeing. But God bless you all. Please stay tuned. I'm going to continue with this video and more, and explain to you why all of this, I believe, came straight out of Bible prophecy, the Old Testament prophets as well as the book of Revelation. God bless you. Thank you.